The long-anticipated Hardcore Realms in Classic WoW will be releasing very soon worldwide. These realms will finally be an official chance for players to prove their prowess on a one-life character and see just how far you can get, be that to the Goldshire Inn or all the way to Kel'Thur's Ad. There have been plenty of changes to these realms too to make them fit this new playstyle, and since the PTR has gone up, we now know a good amount more about how things will be on these servers, so that is what I'm going to be going over today. All the changes to expect on the Hardcore realms, how they will work, and what you should expect on your hardcore journey. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, Factor 75. Have you ever wanted to stick to a certain eating regime, but don't always have the time to do it? Balancing everything can be difficult, but Factor 75 offers convenience to make it easy. Factor 75 are delicious dietitian-approved meals delivered straight to your doorstep. These meals are calorie counted, and the weekly menu features over 30 restaurant-quality meals, including keto, calorie-smart, vegan, and vegetarian options. No matter the dietary restrictions, there will be something for everyone. But the biggest benefit will be that you're not spending ages in the kitchen, as each meal is ready in 2 minutes. It's microwavable food, but just not in any way that you've seen it before. There's even insulated packaging, meaning you don't have to be at home when the delivery is made, and the contents will remain refrigerated for some time. So whether it's better eating habits, reaching goals, or anything in between, make a start with Factor 75. You can use my link or go to factor75.com and use code POGWillOrg50 for 50% off your first box. Then again, you can click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. Many thanks to Factor 75 for the sponsor today. Let's get back to WoW. Hardcore Realms will be releasing worldwide on August 24th at 3 PM PDT. Times are shown worldwide on the screen here. Classic has always had global releases at the same time though, so it's going to be midnight in Europe as per usual. Regarding the realm names, Blizzard recently said in an interview that they didn't want to release them in advance to avoid another mega server situation happening again. But on both EU and NA, these server names are now available. However, at the moment you can't log in to reserve a name. On Europe we have Necrosh and Stitches, and on North America there is Defias, Pillager, and Skull Rock. I am kind of surprised that they didn't just do one server per region, but then again it is hardcore, the main focus of the game mode is leveling, so even if you do end up on the less populated server, it shouldn't really be that big of a deal. Of course, these servers are permadeath for your character, and you have one life and that is it. The Warlock's Soulstone will not work, nor will the Shaman's Ankh. Also, Paladins can no longer use their Hearthstone when under the effects of Divine Shield, or in other words, Bubble Hearth has been disabled, so no get out of jail free card once per hour. The Flask of Petrification, which allows players to drop group and escape dangerous situations when in an instance though, will be remaining in the game and will be unchanged. Blizzard's reasoning is that it will be a considerable investment to craft them on a fresh realm, and they will offer some level of protection for high-end characters. However, should the unthinkable happen and your character meets their untimely end, probably against a kobold, they are not technically gone forever. You can release and remain as a ghost and socialize with your other fellow ghosts, or you can transfer for free to a classic era realm. So if you did have a character which you are enjoying playing, it is not gone forever if it dies on a hardcore server. But obviously if you do want to carry on hardcore servers, you're going to have to load up that character creation screen and go again. There have also been some changes made to prevent some of the more uncontrollable situations that can come up. Disconnecting on a flight path and reconnecting should now teleport you to a nearby graveyard, instead of just randomly dropping you out of the air to your inevitable doom. And should you suffer a good old standard disconnect, the time between your disconnect and the automated character log off has been lowered. Since these have just been tested on the PTR so far, we don't entirely know the ins and outs of exactly how this will work, but I'm sure we'll find out more once the servers are live. Blizzard's hardcore realms, unlike the unofficial ones, will have no restrictions when it comes to grouping, trading, mailbox, or auction house. Anything and everything goes. This does bring the goods such as grouping for quests, the ability to easily run dungeons, and a unique hardcore economy, and the bad such as botting and gold farmers out in the world looking to profit from this fresh environment. Speaking of trading and grouping, Blizzard's hardcore servers will not feature any additional alternative playstyles at launch. Blizzard have expressed interest for a more solo-oriented path through the game, or what players call Solo Self-Found or SSF, but they have confirmed they will not be doing it at launch. On top of that, they've also said they won't be enforcing the solo part of it, as even on an official Realms, this was selectively applied so players could run dungeons whilst leveling. For Blizzard, when they eventually get round to it, it will more just be having a self-sufficient character that cannot trade, use the mail, or the auction house. We don't know when this will be though. What there will be faster respawns on named mobs throughout the world to help players get through those type of quests a little bit faster. You can also group up, remember, so hopefully the old quests that were often bottlenecks will now be able to be passed pretty quickly. Monster leashes have also been adjusted so that they cannot be kited forever. This is one of the changes mainly aimed at preventing griefing. Think of kiting Teramis the Devourer to Stormwind, or the elites outside of Alderman up to Loch Modan. Blizzard said this shouldn't affect hunters kiting elite mobs when questing normally, but I guess we're gonna see how that one works out. There will be in-game notifications for when players reach certain level thresholds, as well as for when they die, but most of these will just be within your own guild. So if you want a reason to type F when you see people die, make sure you're joining a guild. All dungeons will have a 24-hour cooldown, very similar to the heroic system that has existed in either TBC or Wrath of the Lich King. This is because a big part of the hardcore experience is being out in the open world and questing. And if dungeons were free to be run all day, every day, the return of the dungeon cleaving to 60 would happen. And whilst dungeon cleaving is not without its risks either, it just takes players out of the open world and puts them into an instance. This restriction is removed at 60 since there is not a whole lot of leveling to be done by that point in time. This also means a level 60 character can never run a dungeon with a character below their level. On top of that, boosting changes have been made, so if there is a large gap in levels between members of the party, the lower level ones are going to receive much less experience. So all in all, unless you want to dungeon log daily, there's going to be a lot of questing involved in getting your hardcore character to 60. If you do manage to reach 60 though, there are things which have changed at endgame too. First up, all the content in Classic WoW will be available and unlocked from day one. People will be able to roll up into Naxxramas before they go to Molten Core, which is probably a terrible idea, but you can do it in theory. This leaves content progression solely in the hands of the player base to see how fast it can be done, and everyone having one life makes it that much more interesting. Expect to see some really good drama around the race here. Also worth a mention, both the debuff and buff caps have been removed for raiding content, so no need to worry about the whole assignment spreadsheet anymore. On top of that, both the Chronoboon Displacer as well as world buffs will be allowed in hardcore raiding. Again, this seems fine. Hardcore is about stacking every possible advantage. The content might be easy, but it's also very easy to get one-shot by just about anything in Classic. For PvP, we have quite a few changes as well. First up, Battlegrounds, their reputation rewards and ranking rewards have all been disabled. There is one exception to this, which is players can still buy the PvP trinket from vendors in Stormwind or Orgrimmar. However, now it will cost you 20 gold. Remember, in Classic, the PvP trinket can only remove certain effects, and it does different things for different classes. Still, there isn't a huge volume of really great trinkets out there till much later in the game, so it might be worth the investment if it can remove, say, fear or stun effects on your class. You can still wargame versus other players in Battlegrounds, mind you, but if you die doing this, that's gonna be your one life gone. Certain quests that used to PvP flag you for some reason, such as the attack or the final part of the missing diplomat, will no longer do so you don't have to worry about enemy players lurking nearby. And to enable PvP in the open world at all, it can only be done via typing /PvP in your chat box. You can no longer accidentally toggle PvP on by right-clicking a flagged player or enemy. Another new feature is Duel to the Death, aka mmorpg. This is very much what it sounds like. Face off against another player in Mortal Kombat and see if they secretly had Arena Grandmaster, Tidal Charm, free action potions, magic dust, or one of the many other overpowered items in Classic. There's even a fancy new flag for mmorpg as well, so you can see if people are doing it from afar. For each battle you win, you also get a cosmetic buff called the String of Ears, and is probably a deterrent from people actually wanting to fight you in the first place. Also, the duel space has been increased by a large amount to prevent people accidentally forfeiting due to fear pathing or getting CC'd out of the area. However, should you actually run from a duel to the death, this is going to be punished heavily. You'll be affected by a debuff called Coward, reducing all attributes, damage, resistances, and armor for 20% for 3 in-game days. So if you run from a duel to the death, you better have a remote desktop, work from home, or be prepared to AFK in Orgrimmar's Stormwind for a long old time. Moving on though, the updated Dragonflight options have also been added to Classic. If you're unfamiliar with this UI at all, you can search pretty much anything that used to exist at the bar at the top. It's really not that hard to use. Unfortunately, Blizzard did remember to tinker with it for Classic, so we have the authentic 20-yard enemy name bars once again. Love to see that return. Finally, gameplay disruption is expected to be taken seriously on hardcore servers. Blizzard say it's critical to the health of these realms that players play nice and play fair with one another, and we will take any hostile action or abusive actions that occur between players very seriously. Upon character creation, you will be prompted to agree to both the hazards of hardcore realms and that death is permanent and irrevocable, as well as the rules around the behavior between players. And whilst efforts in-game by Blizzard have been made to mitigate griefing, if the inevitable happens, expect your account to be at risk. I can almost see the "why did I get banned" posts in the future happening already. And that's about it for hardcore servers. Let me know if there's anything I missed off below. Best of luck on your hardcore journey, watch out for caves, and enjoy. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all on the next one very soon.